Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Investing Across Borders. I'm Lauren Cohen, international legal and real estate expert, and I am your host. So pleased to help people navigate their path to invest, live, work, and play across borders. And I am here with my very dear friend and major influencer, wonderful entrepreneur who is truly the epitome of what I share on this podcast, Iman Aghay. Iman, I can't do you a minute of justice. You're just such a wonderful go-giver, kind-hearted, amazing entrepreneur that helps so many people build courses and build influence and create collaborative opportunities. And you have Joint Venture Insider Circle. I mean, there's just so many different things that you have going on across 40 countries or more. Tell us just a little bit about yourself, if you would.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for such an amazing introduction. And I always say the very simple introduction for me, just say Iman Aghay is a nice guy, and that's all it's all I
You
require
are that.
an introduction. And well, I'm a serial entrepreneur, as you mentioned, and I live in Vancouver, BC, in Canada, and um, I invested on different companies. I bought into different companies and have several um, companies protected and different setups in different places to be able to make sure that we are doing the work that we are doing and making an impact in the world and pretty much that's as I would say that's as simple as I can put this.
You are all of that. And I was when we just hopped on before we started recording, we were saying that if in any other year, if we would currently be on the marketers cruise, which is where we officially met in person, even though we had known each other for a while before that, because we would be, I don't know, somewhere in Belize or some place like that, some exotic place, instead of not being able to leave Canada, for example. But I would love for you, because I didn't know your story until the marketers cruise. So I would love for you to just give us a brief background, since you're from Iran and you came to Canada as an immigrant with basically like nothing in your pocket, and you have like brought millions of people to success in multiple streams of income. I mean, I can't even say enough about you, but just tell us just a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so I mean, as I was growing up, I was always looking at people who are making a massive positive influence on other people. People like Oprah, Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy. Um, I actually don't even know how many books of Brian Tracy I had when I was growing up, and when I was going through college. And I was thinking that I want to be one of these people. I want to be one of the people that stands on the stage, makes a positive impact, and also at the same time have a successful business. And but as you know, I was born and raised in Iran, and with an Iranian passport, it's really hard to travel.
Yeah.
And also, you really want to know English, at least from my point of view, or maybe Spanish, or maybe French, but like a language that more people speak than Farsi. And so back in 2009, 2008, my wife and I decided to move to North America, and we were easier for us to move to Canada. And so we moved to Canada, and we decided to come to Vancouver, BC. When we landed here, a few days after we landed, we realized that our money is not going to follow us, and it's going to be stuck in Iran. And we said, okay, so if that's the case, then we got to go find a job. But I couldn't speak English. We
You
didn't have any
speak English
family.
when you got to Canada.
Well, here was my level of English. The immigration officer asked me, "How's it going?" And I thought, I just came. Why is he asking me about how I'm planning to leave? I mean, like 9 months after I was here, somebody asked me, "What are you up to?" And I thought, what she's asking me, what am I standing up on? So I
Uh-huh.
actually looked down and I said, floor. I mean, like, isn't everybody up to floor? Like, I mean, like what? Like that was my level of English, which actually, even to this date, when I say that, many English speaking people can't even understand what do you mean. But like, what does floor have to do with what are you up to? Like, I mean, like that was where I started. And anyways, then we started looking for jobs, and long story short, we got to this place that we were 17 days away from becoming homeless, and we didn't have any money left for buying food or paying for the rent. And I knew by the end of the month, like, we're done, we're finished, and we didn't even have enough money to go back. Like, I knew that, like, our way is just like, we're gonna be on the street, we're gonna be living on the street. There was a street in Vancouver called the East Hastings, and when like more homeless people are living there, like most of the homeless people
Oh,
live on
uh-huh.
East
Oh,
Hastings. So when you take a bus, you actually cross that part of the town, and I remember actually visualizing myself
oh,
living there
goodness.
in the next like 15 days,
Ugh,
for like, I was planning how to live with my wife on that part of
I
the
can
city.
just imagine your wife. Oh my goodness. That
And
would, I'm getting goosebumps just even thinking about it.
and so um and then at that point, I remember I woke up one day and I said, well, here is the thing. Nobody gives you a job. And if you don't give it to me, build it yourself. And and that day I started something called Vancouver Business Network, and I decided to start a web design company. I had no idea how to design a website. But then one thing I knew was, sorry, you gotta give me 1 second. I have a siren in my background.
I
Okay.
don't have many of those here in South Florida.
Right. Yeah. And anyways, so so as we were, I decided to start a web design company. One thing I knew I have was work ethics. I knew that if I offer something, I figure it out, I go and build it. I built from scratch, and I got lucky. And 3 days after I started my company, I found my first client who paid me $1,800
That was
to
like a gold mine at the time. That was
that,
like,
that
that got you probably your rent paid at least, right?
that paid the rent of the month and bought us food. We were living in a very cheap home. We were living in a home that they were planning to demolish it, and that's all we could afford. And they were giving it month to month rent because they were planning to demolish it. So we actually didn't know if that home was gonna get demolished
Right.
like 2 months
Oh
later
my
or three
God.
months later. But that's why it was cheap. It
Hmm.
was like 100-year-old building that I mean, it was silverfish and everything. Anyways, I'm not gonna go to the thing, but the rent was cheap, which for Vancouver is very impressive because Vancouver doesn't have cheap. Vancouver, like they always say BC stands for bring cash,
Oh, I thought
which
that was
means how to
Toronto, but
suck.
it's not BC. There you go. Yep.
So the anyways, that money paid for the rent of the month and bought us food, and I started my web design company. And
Did you
I was
actually design websites? Did you
yeah.
learn how to do that? You
Yeah,
did.
I was going out from, like, I was doing networking from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
I
So
can
9
just
a.m.
see you doing that too. That's so perfect for you to build
Right.
a network that way.
So 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Oh,
I would sit at 550 Burrard Street, which is a coffee shop called Blends, with the local brand, and I would sit from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I would meet people one on one for 8 hours, and
oh,
then at 5 p.m. I would walk to a networking meeting. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I would go to a networking meeting to book
oh,
8 appointments for the next few days.
oh my
So I
God.
have my days booked, and then 9 p.m. I would get on the bus, get home. 10 p.m. I would get home. I would have dinner because I didn't have money to eat dinner outside. So 10 p.m. after dinner, I would start learning web design from YouTube and other places, and searching things, and I would design website till 2 a.m., 3 a.m., sometimes 5 a.m. And I would sleep. I would wake up again at 8 a.m. and would get on the bus, go back, and start having meetings from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. essentially.
I'm
And
tired just thinking about it.
and that's how I built my web design company to mid six figures. And I kind of started hiring employees, and now they could do the work because now I could
Right.
afford having people to do the work for me. Sometimes people say, well, why weren't you, when you were getting money, you weren't hiring a person to do the work? I'm like, that's really good for sometimes business coaches say things that you really think, I mean, you really think you've never been in a hard situation, have
Right,
you?
right.
I mean, I, I was in a position that one time I was actually uh, at at a at a train station, and I hadn't eaten anything for 24 hours, and there was
Right.
this $4 burger that this place was selling. I was looking at that $4 burger. I was thinking staying hungry for 2 more hours is cheaper than eating after spending $4 after staying hungry for 24 hours. So I decided to to go for another 2 hours and then get home and eat something that's cheaper than $4 after 24 hours. And when people tell me, well, why couldn't you hire a person? I'm like, you have no idea how hard life can get, right? So, anyways, but that's where I started. And long story short, I built my web design company, and I ended up on my deathbed in a way. I woke up one day, I was bleeding internally,
From
and
stress?
I was rushed to the hospital. Doctors couldn't find the source, but they said that I've lost 60% of my blood,
Oh, good.
and I didn't have enough blood that they could do the surgery to stop the bleeding, and they had to give me to connect me to blood transfusion and hope that the blood transfusion is faster than the blood that I'm losing. So technically, they started giving me blood, and they said, "Well, good luck. If you were still alive tomorrow, then we'll do a surgery on you tomorrow." And they gave me five bags of blood transfusion that night. Um, but as I was lying on my deathbed, because here's the thing: when a person loses blood, there is a chance that they get a heart attack any second. So it's not like, hey, they lost the blood. When you lose 60% of your blood, there is a chance you die any second from heart attack. Um, and so anyway, so I was just lying down there and lying there and thinking, well, am I gonna die now or now or now? Um, and I was holding my wife's hand. I was looking back at my life and was thinking, there's one thing I'm gonna regret if I die right now. And it's this one thing. If tomorrow people come to my funeral, they're gonna say Iman was a nice guy. He was a web designer. And I so freaking didn't want to die a web designer.
Oh,
I wanted to die as a person who has made a massive impact in the world. I didn't want to die a nice guy. I didn't want to die a web designer. I wanted to die a person who made a massive impact in the world. And that night I said, if I ever survive this deathbed, I'm gonna go follow my dream. I'm gonna live true to my heart. I'm going to do the thing that I was meant to do in my life. And I got lucky. My bleeding stopped. I I was released out of hospital. They actually couldn't do anything on me because the bleeding stopped on its own, and just needed 5 bags of blood transfusion, years of therapy, and then I mean 2 years later they I was diagnosed with cancer. The blood transfer, the kind of whole bleeding was caused by cancer.
oh no.
But over the next 2 years, I mean, I changed my life and I started teaching people how to share their knowledge, how to share their message, how to build businesses and companies. And I beat my cancer 2 years later. Like when I was diagnosed, actually, it was not that complicated because I mean, I mean, thank God, it was a very easy cancer to deal with. Just required the surgery, and they could remove it with the first surgery. But that put me on the path of lots of self-discovery. I always tell people, like, my cancer saved my life. Yes, I have a scar the size of 10 inch on my belly, but I always call that my lifeline. It's something that every morning when I look at the mirror, I remember why I'm alive. And that's the biggest reminder that anybody can get every day. That why are you in this world? And what are you making of your life today?
Man, I wish I could give you a hug right now. Such a special man you are, Iman, and you have accomplished so much of that goal. And I think so many people, you've impacted so many people with what you're doing and on so many levels. Like it's not just entrepreneurs, it's just people. I mean, I remember on the marketer's cruise, the first day, one of your students lost her husband on the cruise. And I didn't know that this had happened. I just met you and I thought, this is odd. He's not that, like, he didn't seem that friendly. I'm like, this doesn't seem like the guy I've talked to. And then I found out it was because this had happened. Somebody had died. And it's the most wonderful woman who lost her husband. And Iman's heart was just broken, literally, because he was there looking after her through the whole trip, making sure that she was properly cared for, making sure that all the arrangements were made. I mean, that comes from your heart. That's an authentic human being. And this is where your greatness comes from, because you're not coming from a place of, oh, I want to make a lot of money, but you're coming from a place of, I want to impact a lot of people. And that impact a lot of people in every country around the world. Literally, Iman is known in like so many countries for doing so much. He has students. How many countries do your students come from right now, would you say?
I actually don't know. I know that I am, well, I have one of the top 100 entrepreneurial books internationally. So, I mean, thousands of people have bought and read my book. Honestly, I know at one of our events we had people from 54 countries.
Yeah.
Um, I actually have never sat and looked because I actually that's not the way I look at the world. Like I don't do what I do to look at my numbers, and I know that many people want to do that and like do that because they want to like kind of brag about it or talk about it or whatever, like whatever that resonates with them. And I mean, like, it's a cool thing, but I never actually sat back and I said, well, let's look at all the all the countries that we have students in and other things, because every day we go back to work to make sure that we are doing the best that we can, and we do that work as best as we can. And you know um I have a very simple policy. I always tell people, like, treat others the way that you would like to be treated.
100%.
And if you do that, then you're good, you're okay. And then the other thing is that make sure that by the end of the day, when you go home and you want to put your head on your pillow, you can sleep with no guilt, with no regrets. And that's two policies,
Yeah.
that if you have the two things, I mean, you're building a big impact. And money is just a byproduct of impact. um, if you're making a big impact and you're making it in a positive way and you want to make it in a sustainable way, then money becomes a byproduct of your sustainable impact. The thing is that many people say, well, why do you charge the way that you charge? And I say, well, because you need sustainability to be able to grow. Like a business always requires money, requires income to be able to sustainable. And the more money you have, the more impact you can make. Sometimes
Correct.
people think money is evil, and I always tell them money is just an amplifier.
Yeah.
You add money to something that is good, you get more good. You add money to something that is bad, you get more bad. We have assholes who have money and they're bigger assholes. We have people who are good and have more money and they're more good. They can do more good in the world. And honestly, I know more good people who have money than more assholes that have money.
But that's because that's who you're surrounding yourself with. And if you were not that person, then you'd be surrounding yourself with those bad people
Well,
that have
yeah.
more money and are not looking at it from, how can I impact people, but how can I make more money and buy more stuff and get the Maserati or whatever it is. And it's just all about them.
Yeah.
Um, so
But it's the good thing about life is that it's your choice. You want to
it
hang out
is.
with bad people, you can hang out with bad people. You don't want to hang out with them, just just don't.
Don't hang out with them. Right. Exactly. Sometimes it's more challenging if they're in your family, but it's true. It's true. I remember when you and I first talked about working together, and we talked, I asked this question in my questions that I asked before you come on the podcast about what's more important to you, value or price? And I remember when we first spoke and you said to me, Lauren, you charge as much in US dollars as most lawyers charge up here in Canadian dollars. But I'm going to work with you because I know that you're going to look after me, and because you bring value to the table that's well beyond the price point of the differential. And it's true, and it's resonated with me ever since. And it's just really important because, as you're saying, what you said, people ask, why do you charge what you charge if you're all about impact? Well, you have to make money in order to go from point A to point Z or point Z. And money does make the world go round. And I just got off a podcast interview this afternoon or this morning, I don't even know anymore. And we was with another lawyer, and we were talking about how money gives you options. Money gives you freedom and options. And those options and that freedom is I think what drives entrepreneurs to make more money when they're impacting people, because you want options. You don't want to be stuck.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. And that's a big deal.
Here's the thing. I also see sometimes people think that money buys you happiness. Okay, money never buys you happiness. Money can buy you pleasure, but it doesn't buy you happiness. Happiness is something that comes from within. Right. Happiness is something but money buys you pleasure and buys you options. Those are the two things that money can do. And just that's all it is. And it's an amplifier. It just gives you more options to be able to make bigger impact, or to make, bigger negative impact, I would say. But like whatever you want to do with it, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about the value. One of the things that I've dealt with a lot is when people try to do it cheaper, and then they end up spending so much more time and energy and effort. And sometimes the person can't afford it. Like, honestly, the person can't afford it. And I have been in positions that I couldn't afford it. But I also have realized one thing, that many times people don't know their life values. And what I mean by life values is that each of us as a human being have some values in our life, right? For example, some people value time that they spend with their family. Some people value their health more than other things, right? And sometimes the only value that people have been exposed to is the money, is like cash, because that has amount. But they forget about all the other values in their life. And one of the things I always tell people is like, what are your top 4 values in life?
Yeah.
And sometimes, for example, the person say, oh, it's health, it's family, it's helping others, and it's making money. And I say, okay, that's great. So I have a question for you. If you spend this extra $1,000 or $2,000, but you can save another like 60 hours that you can spend with your family, or if you don't spend that $2,000, then you had to be behind your computer and do research and do it all yourself, and then you make a mistake, and then you have to go to court, and you have to go this and that and blah 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 blah. That's like hundreds of hours that you're taking away from your family.
Yep.
Or you can just pay the 2K and if you have it and you can afford it, right? Now the question is, now if you have it and you can afford it, that buys you option. Okay, now that you have the option, tell me this. What are the values in your life? And they're like, I've never thought about it this way. And I always say, because I don't go and spend money on things that are like just have high value, but because they don't have value to me. They have high value, but they don't have any value to me, right? For example, I never drive a Lamborghini. I never drive a Maserati. I actually, to be fair, like the next car I'm buying actually is a Maserati. But then generally, like, I don't go spend money on on things that are, like, from my point of view, is a waste of money, right? For absolutely nothing in return, right? Um, and like, I want to go from point A to point B. I don't need to do that in a $500,000 car. I can
Right.
put that like $400,000 back in investments in other things. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, but then the thing is that, what are the values that you have in your life, and can that money buy you those other things? The time with your family, the time that you can exercise, the time, and whatever those values are in your life. So, money buys you options, and those options are the options that are other values in your life. But when
Mhm.
you don't know those other things that have value in your life, then you may actually, like, kind of like get focused on the wrong thing, which you
100%.
will regret at the end of your life. That's the problem, right? um I mean, like, one of the top five biggest regrets of people on their deathbed is not spending enough time with their family.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's one
Yeah.
of those things.
Um, I wanted to know, so web design, step back. So you were doing web design. What moved you or took you on the path to create Success Road Academy, course creation, leader, like all, like what, where, when did you realize I don't, like you said, I don't want to die a web designer,
All
but
right.
what happened next?
Okay, so I'm gonna so after the web design, I mean, I kept the web design company for a few weeks after that, literally a few
Just a
weeks
few
after
weeks.
that,
Wow.
just a few weeks, right? I literally dropped a $500,000 company in just like a snap. Um, and I decided to start, like, I was doing some talks and other things, but I didn't have a program. And I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make my business based on teaching people how to build businesses and how to do what I just did. And I started my first course. I taught 8 people how to build a successful business, and those people got great results. They became my success stories. The first class I taught it for free because nobody would pay me. But then, now that I had success stories, I started teaching it as a paid course, right? And in a couple of years, we went from being only in one city, Vancouver, to go to 4 cities: Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, and Toronto. And I had branches in all these 4 cities, and we were teaching. We had students in the 4 cities. Um, we had events that were happening in all the 4 cities. And I realized I'm literally living on an airplane and a hotel room. I got 280 pounds. I was
Wow.
constantly traveling. I had cars in 4 cities, and I had to drive from one city to another, and I kind of like fly from one city and then drive inside that city. Anyways, it was crazy life. 200 days of travel, and then I decided to go online. And then back in 2015, I also became a Canadian citizen, which made it easier for me to travel, to be able to go to the US, to attend other events. And that started opening the doors to JV relationships with me. The good thing was that our business was online. So I would come back home. I would do every sale and everything we were doing from the comfort of my home, and everything online. But then the business started expanding a lot more. And then that required me to be in more places. And I started investing on other companies.
Mhm.
So we had a company in the US that I bought into, and then so on and so forth. So right now, as we're speaking, well, I'm part of an investment fund that we have 5 companies inside that investment fund. We have another IT company. Have the JV Insider Circle that everybody knows about, or, like, if not, it's one of the
If
largest
not, you need
JV
to know.
networks. Like, I mean, like, everything. Yes, it is one of the largest JV networks in the world. And then I also have the Success Road Academy, where I teach people how to create and sell online courses, because literally that's what changed my life in 2015, when I decided to stop traveling between one city to another city and wanted to sit in one place. And, like, so how do we do this? And then that was when we went online. And So, and that was when I actually reached out to you. And I'm like, hey, I'm traveling and being all over the world, and I need to make sure that I'm protected when I'm in other countries. And
Which
I'm
eventually is going to happen again. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, I'm
so like
just not.
everybody,
Yeah,
um, at the I think at the beginning of COVID, you were probably like, I don't know, I'm speculating. You're probably like, holy crap, what am I going to do? Even though you had a lot of online business, you're an events guy.
yeah,
You're an in-person hugger. You know, I was talking yesterday with a big influencer, Bert Oliva. I don't know if you know him. And we were just talking about the thing that we miss the most is hugging.
yeah,
Like it's, you can hug your wife, you can hug your kids, you can hug your dogs, but you're not hugging anybody else. And that's strange for people like us that are relationship driven, working, used to being in big crowds at events and running events and so on. And it's been a big change. Now, what started as a challenge turned into a pivoting opportunity that you have turned into a like mega collaborative business, working, having joint venture insider circle events once a month, right? Or and then running other events collaboratively with other people that need to build their own tribes.
yeah.
So it's just been an awesome ride to watch and share with you and be part of, and just also to see so many other people impacted, like who don't understand the JV world, the joint venture world, and people pretend to be experts, but unless you're in it, you're not an expert. And it took me a really long time to figure out how to create those affiliate relationships because at the end of the day, I'm a lawyer. Lawyers are not collaborative. Lawyers are competitive. So it's a change of mindset, right? Because
Right.
collaboration breeds success.
Although you collaborate really, really well with other lawyers, with other people, I'm actually very impressed.
Thank
Like
you.
when we started working together and I saw how you collaborate with other lawyers, I was like, wow, I'm very impressed with,
Thank you. Well, it's
like, I mean,
taken
like,
a while. It's a learning curve like anything. But in the past year, I too have come into my own in many ways, and created some signature programs that are getting amazing traction. I just got asked today to run a webinar for the Canada Florida Chamber of Commerce because they heard about what I've been doing, and so it's important because I, like you, want to impact others and help and make a difference, not just charge pay a bill. And I just created an amazing strategic partnership, Iman, with an asset protection lawyer who was looking for somebody like me. I'm like, oh, well, here I am. And I love that because this way we can bring value to our clients together, and that's it excites me. So, and I started with you. You probably don't even know this, but I signed up when I was first in this space a little bit for your course creation program,
wow.
and I went through it, and I didn't really quite get it. I didn't get how it would fit into my business. I was kind of like banging my head against the wall. I kept coming to your meetings, and I was like, I don't know, this guy doesn't seem to be talking to me. But I kept coming, and I was persistent, and I figured it out. And now I have a membership program, and I have evergreen courses and all this stuff. And not that long ago, a guy on a real estate portal said to me, "You're too salesy. You have too much of a funnel." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I can't work with you because I'm a multi-million-dollar investor." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess different strokes for different folks, right?"
Right. Exactly. Well, I'm very impressed, actually. I am
Thank
very
you.
impressed that you have things. And if a person tells you, hey, you have an elaborate sales system, so I can't work with you because I have too much money, um, I have so many questions about that conversation.
I should let you talk to him.
What do you mean? I have too much money. I'm making my money without any sales system.
Like
Sure.
seriously, I mean, I
I
think it
get
was
that.
the lawyer thing. He thinks lawyers should not have systems. I'm like, how can we possibly grow our business and impact people and help? And but most lawyers, admittedly, are not entrepreneurs. It's just like most people, and it took us us lawyers, it takes us a little longer to get off of the lawyer train and get onto the, I'm a lawyer, but I'm also an entrepreneur. And I have
Right.
a system that can help you.
Yes.
So Iman, I thank you for your time. I'm glad we were able to figure this out today. We almost missed it. And I was like, we had a mess up in our calendars. And I was like, if I cancel this, I'm not going to see Iman for 6 weeks at least. I just knew. And I was like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. And here we are. How do people reach you? Not that it's that hard, because we can find you everywhere. Success Road Academy, Iman Aghay. I mean, he's amazing, but let us know how they can reach you, please.
First, before I talk about that, I want to say thank you to you for treating your clients like like treating your clients at a VIP level. That means a lot
Thank you.
to me, to many people who worked with you,
Thank you.
because I never ever felt that I am a number in your books when we're working together. And I know that I am just another client, but I am
No,
never treated just like another client,
never.
you know? And that means a lot. And for those of you who are listening to this, um, the length that Lauren goes to serve her clients is unbelievable.
You're gonna
And
make me cry.
so I really want to thank you for your flexibility, for your professionalism, for everything, for the way that you
Oh,
treat people and your clients. That means a lot. And I mean, in the course of working together and kind of like the whole process, I've never felt anything less than VIP with you.
oh, thank you.
And
It comes from my heart. I really do. I care about you guys so much. You're a part of my world. I'm so glad to have had the chance to meet you in person, and I can't wait to see you again in person soon, God willing. And thank you, Iman. It's really a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be a part of your world. It just is a pleasure.
absolutely. Thanks. And now, how to reach out to me, how to
Yes,
connect with me. Actually, good thing my name is very unique.
very unique.
So Google is very easy friend, because if you search my name on Google, pretty much I come up everywhere on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. I mean, Clubhouse, whatever, probably you
Clubhouse,
name it. I'm
isn't
not
that
going
the
to come up on,
craziest thing ever? That
yeah.
Clubhouse. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness me. That thing could control your life if you let it.
I mean, don't try to find me on TikTok or other, I mean, like other things, Snapchat, but then pretty much you can find me on the regular ones, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook.
Iman, just spell your
And
last name if you would, please.
Aghay. Okay. Aghay. And Iman is IMAN. Okay. So IMAN space Aghay. And then obviously you can always go to imanaghay.com. That's a very easy place to find me, or successroadacademy.com. But yeah, I'm a pretty accessible person, and easily anybody can reach out to me.
Iman, I thank you. And I look forward to the time when we can reconnect in person and schedule some time with me so we can chat further about all the stuff that we have to chat about.
Awesome.
And send my regards to your lovely, amazing wife.
Thank you.
And stay safe and healthy. And thank you again for your time.
Thanks for
Everyone,
having me.
it's Lauren Cohen, international legal and real estate expert, signing off for today from Investing Across Borders, where we teach you how to invest, live, work, and play across borders. Thank you so much for joining us today. Stay safe and have a wonderful day. Bye for now.